So, I've run into the issue several times of people bringing up that they're scared off by the various menus of OpenXCom, which is why I'm doing the stream right now. Title is a tutorial stream where I will be going through and basically summarizing some of the settings and basic menu functions, because there's quite a few hidden away in various places that are kind of obscure and hard to get to, that are not in even vanilla XCOM, that I didn't even know about after playing extended for an extended period of time, pardon the pun. So this is the graphical, resolution settings essentially in the game. And then you also got these, which are, This is basically filters over your game, so it either softens out the pixelation or it allows you to increase it. And this is display mode. So like full screen and whatnot. These are the various... what this does is pretty obvious. Except for... and these are basically modding related things, and you probably don't want to touch them unless you know what you're doing. Then you go on to controls, which is just your standard control reselect, but there's quite a few hidden hotkeys that you don't know about otherwise. Let me find one of the better examples. Like reserve TUs. There is a button on the hotbar, but if you don't know this function exists in the game for Overwatch, this is basically your Overwatch button in the game. These are the hotkeys for it. There's basically a hotkey for everything. For centering on enemies, for I've never looked at that. I don't know what that looks like. I'll have to check that out. But it's Battlescape only. Create inventory templates. Apply inventory templates. Then you have, these are the extended functions, which are added by the extended branch of base OpenXCom, and are essentially their own. These are not in vanilla XCOM at all. These are completely new and might as well be considered a mod to vanilla on top of our mod and the base 40k mod. So this comes to the meme of a mod of a mod of a mod, which I have said to several people before, which is kind of funny. Our mod's basically a mod of a sub-branch of a remake of a 30-year-old game, which is funny when you say it out loud like that. So that's why I simplified to just our mod, but it's a sub-mod. So like you have daily pilot experience, which most of these are hidden. There is a button for, but they're hidden away in a menu, and if you don't know to click on it, which was the old global finances menu, which was basically a useless menu. So you have zoom in and out graphics. This is I've mainly used for the graphs. Yeah, this is used in the graphs menu to zoom in and out, because some graphs will get so large in the game and they become basically unreadable. So that's what that's used for. Though it still is an issue that some are unreadable in comparison to other graphs. Toggle quick search menu. I think that's used in the research menu, I think. Sell all but one. I haven't used that very much. But there's some useful hotkeys in here that you would probably want to know about, such as all of these. These I don't have selected, because I don't use them, because I'm dumb. Then you got the geoscape buttons, which you can even change what button allows you to drag scroll. This is the clock speed. So this is how fast the clock ticks. How fast world ticks happen at. So you can. I'll explain. When you get to the world, it'll make more sense. But basically, you have a geoscape clock, but you can change the rate at which. This is basically your speed button in Hearts of Iron, and you can change how quickly. Since the game. Basically, this is basically how fast your speed up. How do I explain it? You have individual ticks that move forward time, and this is how fast those happen, but you can increase the amount that they are. Scroll speed and dogfight speed should be pretty obvious. I think I'm going to set this down a little bit. Actually, quite a lot. So I can react more. You want basically both of these at minimum if you're trying to play optimally. He's basically set to like here and here. And you got global details, which you basically all want on. These you basically want set to minimum if you're playing our mod, because the gunshots are really quick and can basically seizure level. These basically show you various things. When they happen. So these ones over here show you pathing and how much it'll cost. Turn these on. I don't use energy because energy you can kind of see from their hotbar, and it's easy enough to predict. Like you can usually tell because it will show you whenever someone runs out of energy. Otherwise, you'll just go to that location typically. Like it's not usually worth considering until it is. Well, that's a bit of a misnomer, but it's basically your stamina bar. Edge scrolling. This allows you to scroll the map. This is how you scroll the Battlescape map, basically. These are your advanced features, which aren't really advanced outside of the... Well... I'll explain these. These actually have effect on gameplay, and these are why Open XCOM is not considered the same thing as original XCOM, is because some of these do have massive implications for gameplay. Some of these don't you can skip whether the intro plays or not, or you have the or whether you can have autosaves, which I have them set to 1, so amount of turns that you have between autosaves, and then I have 10 slots. Saves coming I've turned on, because I would not think less of anybody if they save scum, because there's some serious BS in the mod, just due to, well, it being a mod of a mod that is stacked on top of, there's some serious inconsistencies in weapon damage and armor types and such, so you could not expect something to be as tough as it is. Lazy loading. This basically, you need this on or it'll crash the game. Do not turn it off. It should be locked, I think. Like the rest of these. I'm not sure why it isn't. Mouse wheel scroll speed. Change values with mouse wheel. I turn this off because it's obnoxious to have it basically constantly flipping things when you're scrolling. Inverted drag scrolling. Aggressive retaliate. Oh, I thought I turned that on. I'm not sure if this is a standard supposed to be on, but basically this makes the UFOs always trying to attack you. Regardless of whatever their mission is, which I kind of like to keep off, because all the different enemy types in the game have preset mission priorities that they'll try to pursue to increase score or do different things for the aliens. Or, well, in this case, chaos, or generally the enemies. And there's certain ones that can only be done by certain enemy types, so it feels a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird, that's why. And we already have a script to basically make it whenever you destroy one, you get one of these, something with this mission type to appear. from all of them. So it's not as interesting as it is in base game, from what I understand, from what I can tell. Though I could be wrong on that. I've not played a whole lot of vanilla. Custom initial base. This you should always leave on, but it does make the game very different from vanilla, because basically the hangars where the enemy spawns, so you can make it just one choke point that you have to defend. So it does make base defenses kind of easy, because you can build all your bases however you like. Allow building queue. This allows you to build new facilities in a queue. Force craft launch. You can launch them when they're damaged and when they aren't completely refueled. Storage limits for recovered items. Live alien sales allows you to sell prisoners, basically. Essentially is what this is. And get money for them. Devotion training. I think this is the equivalent of the psychic training at any time. Though you don't unlock the chapel till later in the game, which is the building that's the equivalent of where the Psi training building is in vanilla XCOM, which is the only place training is used, but training is used for all stats in this, in the 40K mod and most mods. They have a training system for every stat, which is very different from vanilla, and that's a pretty big change. But that's what that means, and so it's not really a big deal. You can turn on if you want to. Storage limits for recovered items should always be on. Forced craft launch always on. Allow building queues on or off depending on whether I don't use it. I leave it on. I forget that it's a thing, actually, is really what it is. And it doesn't really do much. Except give you more make things cost more upkeep. Because I don't know if you suffer upkeep for unfinished buildings. Realistic global lighting, I think makes the day and night cycle a bit more realistic, is all. So that one should probably always be on. Psi ability evaluation gives a psychic ability after the lets you know the psychic power. I don't know. This is a vanilla only thing, I think, but I'm not sure. Airborne transfers. Craft currently in flight can be transferred. I'm not sure the specifics of that, so I should turn that one off. I'd recommend this one off, because what will happen is you'll end up with it might limit how many promotions you can have, because promotions are limited by actual rank. And you might need certain ranks of soldiers to get promotions that you... Some promotion types require a certain number of other ranks. So that is why I would recommend leaving that off. But if you want field promotions, you can leave that on. Inverted drag scrolling, that's a dumb thing. Only people playing upside down would use. Sneaky AI makes the AI smarter, but this game's already so hard, I would never want that on. And there's already quite a bit of BS. Inventory, especially for new players who are needing to watch this tutorial, it's like, you really want that on? Inventory stats. This basically shows some extra information. Like, I don't know what all is hidden from you because I always played with this one on. I think it's even on in the base Open XCOM. Most of these are Open XCOM. In Open XCOM, not even Extended, because Extended gets its own section here. Enhanced soldier sprites. So this gives you new sprites to match the what you see in the inventory. This saves pre-primed grenades from geoscape from basically the inventory screen, which isn't the geoscape. It's actually part of the battlescape, which is why I corrected myself there. And then you have the auto end battle, which basically ends the battle when all enemies die. So like this is if you I'm trying to remember like what this actually changes. I think it, because I've always played with this one. I've always played with a lot. This one should be turned off because it will give you seizures if you don't. Because what will happen is if you're on certain map tiles and the bullets are flying from the gun, certain guns in our mod have fast projectiles, and they go way too quick. And they shoot way too quick, so the bullets will all fly, and it will cause the screen to shake really violently and can give you a bloody seizure. So I'd recommend turning that off, because it makes the camera always remain centered. Which sounds good in principle, but basically it would always jump back to the person who shot the bullet. Which makes it worse. Which means it will always happen. At close ranges, even. When it doesn't happen because the camera's just sitting still normally. Disable auto equip. Always have this one on. Okay, I should probably explain some of these grayed out ones are ones that need to be off for balance reasons. So, like, retain interrogated aliens would, the reason for that one being off is because you'll run out of prison space if you don't have it off. And you have to, and there's a limited number of bases in the game. You can only have, like, 9 of them. And so you can only have so much prison space, so it's, yeah. UFO extender accuracy is basically needed for certain like weapons to function properly, and is used for certain weapon commands, so it needs to be on. Instant grenades basically means grenades explode on contact, which is just dumb to have on. Explosion height 3, it just makes it go up up or down 3 tiles. Why wouldn't you have that on? And certain weapons are bounced around it, so it just doesn't seem like a... And I have confirmed fire, which makes you click twice to fire. But to confirm whether you want to shoot a weapon, nice to have on. Alien weapon self-destruct, just why? Allows psychic capture. This is... mind control's been removed, so this does nothing. By the way, from what I understand. We've removed mind control, so we could probably ungray that one out. Because it doesn't do anything, though it should probably... There's probably a reason behind it. Allows psychic ability improvement. This is for lore reasons and immersion, because you have different classes of psyker, like, the people start with a certain psychic ability in 40k at birth, and you can't really get above that through training. So that's probably why that's set. Why we have that setting there. It's pretty extensive training that you need to even know how to use psychic powers, so let alone getting more powerful is pretty hard without the use of chaos powers. Alternate movement methods, this I think should be set to always on, but basically this allows you to strafe by control clicking adjacent to your facing, so which basically makes it a 5-2U move to either your left or right of your character's facing, or you can shift and spend more energy to move quicker, basically, or move with less TUs, which are basically action points. Skip next turn screen. This basically just skips the clickable next turn screen from the original game. Let me turn that back on. I had that turned off because I was experimenting with how bad this mod would be for, this mod, if you have any sort of vision, like, if you get dizzy really easily or something, the bolters might give you issue, though it's something you should probably try out yourself. This one you should probably leave off. Basically, it doesn't show panic messages for foes, but enemies panic so infrequently on our mod that you should probably leave it on just so you know that it happened. Like, that's how rare it is. Foes bleeding. Yes, this needs to be on. Because there's entire things based around it. There's entire weapons and such based that use this. And wounds and such. Extended links, this is for all the extended menus. Which were the extended controls up at here. Extended UFO landing alerts, just keep that on. Wounded, defend the base if above 50% health. You can set this to any percentage of 10, I think. Yeah. Play briefing music longer. Basically, music in this game will shut off after a period of time. That's why there's no music playing right now, because it would be playing the main menu music, but the main menu music loop is like 3 minutes. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes, so... select night vision color. This is basically an alternate way to see night battles, because night battles are really pretty in this game, but they're also really dark. So it can be hard to see stuff that your characters can technically see if they have any sort of night vision. So that's what this is for. This is that's why it's a toggleable thing normally, because it's ugly as all sin. So I usually just use the thing that brightens up night battles, because the lighting in this game is pretty good for the time. This game does have proper lighting in it. Well, not proper lighting, it's proper by space lighting. It's sort of like what Cataclysm has, where it's where there's multiple stages to lighting. And if you're in the dark, you can be hidden from enemies, which wasn't a thing in the original XCOM, but it was. It's just your guys were the only ones who couldn't see people, which was a dumb decision, I think, gameplay-wise, because it basically... It was something that took away depth from the game instead of adding it in. Though many mods make use of this, because it goes both ways. The AI is smart enough to play around with it. At least the versions that have been used in many of the mods that I've seen. Off-centered shooting. This basically makes it so you could shoot, like, terrain will get less in the way, which is useful for modded terrain. Because I've never... I don't know what the difference really is. Remember, disable crafts or weapons. The reason I have this off is in case I disable a weapon and forget to re-enable it. But you can turn that on if you want. Recover item sell manager. This basically makes it so it remembers how many of something you sold last time after a battle. There's a little menu that's basically the sell menu in your base. Then I'm going to load up the campaign menus to show those off. No. Let's not do that. No, let's not do that. Cancel mods. Yes, I had the test mod loaded. Jesus Christ. Okay, that's why that was broken. Okay. Game's reloaded now. Load game. Sisters. So your first menu up here is your intercept menu. These are the buttons. These buttons down here were the only way in the past of navigating the geoscape. These buttons right here. I'm pretty sure there was no drag option here. That is an open XCOM feature. So the intercept menu shows you all your aircraft and their status. bases will take you to your basescape, which is where you manage all your different types of bases. These land bases are part of our mod. So I'll just cover the underground ones and the management stuff for them. But it's not really that different. They're basically just different buildings that you can build there. Is really all there is to those. So the first menu here, build a new base, basically lets you build a new base. It's also really useful for seeing what a region is. So like you can see the area is this, which is important for let me show you graphs, the graphs menu here, which is the next one. That will cover, it'll show you by area where the enemies have been active and doing missions, and therefore getting score and such, which is in South Magistire. Let's go find where that fucking is. Bases. Build a new base. So you can do it like this, because there's no borders on... Yeah, that's where I thought it was. Because there's no borders on this map, which is... God, it's annoying. Something I looked at fixing, but it seemed a bit more complicated than just using the online editor due to our mod being an extended mod. Then you have base information. This is your, like, overview of statistics. So, like, living quarters, we have... My living quarters at this base currently has 100 and... Basically, it's the numbers. You can also see transfers, what stuff's being transferred to this base. Your stores, which are what you're storing currently. I need to get rid of those. And your monthly costs, which is an overview of all your monthly costs at a base. Oh wow, that's gotten really close. I should build more generators. Sorry, I'm thinking about the playthrough at the moment. Then you got the soldiers menu, which is... There's several menus inside of this one, so you can sort by this. I would not recommend doing this because you always have to remember to go click original order, or it will fuck up the your craft menu. It'll fuck up your soldiers that are on your craft and how they deploy, because their deployment on the craft is based on what order they're in this menu. Or, well, in the craft menu as well, which are the same thing. Then you got soldier info, which is this screen. Then you got memorial. This is where you see all the people who have died. I've only lost 2 at this moment. Oh yeah, and then there's statistics, which shows you all the statistics. Average monthly rating, which is your score per month. Total income, 61 billion. No, it's million. God, I'm fucking dumb. Missions accomplished, 23, yada, yada, yada. Deadliest foe, Nurgle devotees. Sounds about right. Sick days, 783. That's referring to the total number of days I've had people wounded. Let me just scroll down to that area for Oathmaster. Because I was talking to Oathmaster about this. Then you got the training menu. This is where you can select people to be trained, and they'll slowly gain stats over time. I do this with my pilots, mainly. The ones with pluses over here will get training once they leave the medical bay. So that's what that is. That's because they're wounded and they can't train at the moment. What was the other? Oh yeah, that's just a sorting thing. And then you got the transformation underneath. This shows you all the transformations you can do, which are mostly based off if they have, in our mod, if they have 15 kills and 15 missions done, then you can basically do a veteran transformation, which is this is cataloged in the, it's different in each menu, what you have to click to. The reason I was clicking around there for a bit was because it's different in each menu. Like, see, this one has 15 kills, 18 missions. Diary, let's go to awards. Yeah, veteran, which is for that. And then if they've, long service time doesn't yet have anything to do with it, or like anything. I think for penal soldiers you can turn them into guardsmen now. That's so it has something for the Imperial Guard, but I'm getting into gameplay mechanics and not the menu. Let me talk about this menu though. So this is your soldier overview. This shows you the soldier, their stats, which time units are basically your action points. Stamina is your basically how much you can move, and you heal this with something in the med kit. It's not used for normal healing, but it's like a separate pool of things that use to heal stamina, called stimulant. Also, it heals stun. I think there's another one in there too that heals it, but I could be wrong. That one may just heal morale. There's like another, like a third thing in there. Then there's health, which is how much HP they have, which, yeah. Then you got bravery, which is morale. Reactions, which is how easily they can shoot enemies moving. This is basically kind of their Overwatch stat. It's used in roles for that. Firing accuracy, which is shooting, throwing accuracy, and melee accuracy. You have strength, which is how much they can carry, and other. You have psychic ability and devotion, which are... Devotion's used for some promotions, but I don't know the full extent of what it's used for. I'm not too familiar with it. I think it's mainly used for some of the Sisters of Battle abilities. You can add more stats with Extended than what we have in our mod, so Devotion is completely new stat as far as I'm aware. Also, some of those ranks are not actually the same rank, I should say. Let me go find, Then you have the... Oh no, I needed to go back to the diary there. I didn't finish talking about the diary, which is just one of my favorite things to look at. The diary shows you all the different missions they've been on, what score they got on each mission, what date it was. And what rating they got. The rating doesn't really matter, but you can go to combat, and you can see neutralized by race. Race is essentially the faction, most of the time. So, like, Nurgle devotees, this is corrupt Sisters of Battle, in case you're wondering. Plague Bearer, Arbites, these are, Gene Stealer Cult corrupted Arbites. I wish we would put that in front. We need to add that to a lot of things. Where, like, if it's part of one of the factions. But you can see... Oh yeah, and that Servo Skull is one of our dudes. Sorry. We get free Servo Skulls as part of our strategy, so that's probably the only actual thing. And then you got neutralization by ranks. That's this HWP, which is... I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to stand for. I don't know what that stands for in the original game. Leader, medic, these are basically different ranks of enemies. Soldiers are the most common. Navigator, medic, leader, those don't... there's very little difference between them. Except basically they're used to build enemy rosters. Enemy, like, unit rosters. So, like, we can assign different enemy types to each of these, and it'll pick from those groups for each of these types. And terrorists are used only on terror missions. So that's why you'll see only, in the vanilla game, that's why you'd only see certain, like, the giant disc enemies only on terror missions. Or if you shot down a ship going on a terror mission. And then you have what weapons they did those with. And you can look at performance, which is missions, basically. Missions by location, missions by type, and missions by foes and craft. And you can see the total score of all their missions. And then all the wins and days wounded. And then you have the commendations, which we haven't really fleshed out that well. There's some other mods that do a lot with commendations. That's why I say we haven't fleshed out so well, because there's mods like X-Pirates, which is really cool, but not really safe for work. That fleshes that system out to a ludicrous degree. Like, it has a ton. Let me go. Equip craft. So, this is the equip craft menu. You can change what weapons are on a craft. You can change these out. Oh, crap. I'm gonna go buy some plasma missiles for that. But you can basically, you would see a thing show up here that you can equip into the slot. I'm going to take this off. It will always give priority to repairs over ammunition. So if you're zeroed out on ammunition, it will not reload. I should probably transfer those over to that actually working craft. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll do that when we get to the transfers menu to explain that. Equipment. Then you have your actual, like, your landing craft. This is what transports your soldiers. You can select which soldiers are going to be deployed on them. Which ones will be, like... I need to get more kills on that person to veteran them up, so that's why I'm choosing that one. And then... So you can select different armor from here. You could do this from the other menu, but I usually choose to do it from this one, where I can see the craft. Because you can, I'll show you soon. Seraphim armor. Give you Seraphim armor. Seraphim armor's jetpack armor, by the way, but I feel it's that important to say that. These are superior armor. This is the veteran tier, but it's been replaced at this point for sisters. It was the veteran tier, I guess I should say. Remove this from you. Give you dark red power armor. So that's how you would equip stuff onto a group. These stormtroopers are from an event. You can get events if you have high enough score that give you other factions units, or better units. Then you have the deployment preview. This shows you what order your people will come in, and you can, if you control W, you can teleport them around. This is very important that you know that you can do this with Control W. Because it makes this menu way more useful. If you use abort mission, you can save a craft deployment. And this will even save things like facings, which can be useful for like people like up here, because they're normally facing just forward. I'm trying to figure out if there's another facing I want. I don't know if the facings save on these. I can't remember. I always forget to remember what facing I put these in, and then check on the battlescape if they save. This aircraft also, anything that's a drop, a Thunderhawk transport drop, the Thunderhawk leaves a giant smoke screen for you as it leaves and basically blows everything up is what it technically does, but it doesn't affect friendlies. Well, it can, but it doesn't. It doesn't usually unless they're really weak armored. In my experience, though, it could just be I have a ton of Dominion armor, which is diluting it. I'm going to cover more of the battlescape menu later. So you don't need to worry about that, what you're seeing there. Now we're going to cover the... This is where you would equip your craft. You can see all your different weapons, which are ordered in a nonsensical pattern based on when they were added into the mod and whatnot. And whether we've decided to reorder them in some other fashion that may have made sense at some point or another. And then forgot that other ones were reordered in some other fashion, and yeah, you can see how this gets out of hand rather quickly when you have so many items. Like, this is just this base's inventory alone. All of these items that we're putting on can be equipped to various soldiers. Each armor type has its own style of inventory. Some even give them special items, like the servo skull, which I get replenished every single battle from the Dominion armor. And that basically spawns in a servo skull unit, which can tank shots and such. When I say tank, I mean tank one shot and eat some enemy TUs up. It's more useful than it sounds. Since shooting in this game is percentage based, I need to reorder that. How do I want to do those menus? I do not have a whole lot of... Oh, let me check that. Yes, I let me go. 25. 10. Inventory. So, if you're wondering what ammo a weapon can take, you can middle mouse on it and it will... Oh yeah, that one I can't actually see. But... And there's another solution around that I've found in the game. If you can't see what it is in the campaign, there's another way to access the whole codex for every single entry in the codex. This is how you see what ammo a weapon can take. Is you go to this little button right here, which is info, which shows you the full mathy side of the weapon. And this is kind of necessary to use in this mod. If you do not use this, you will find your ass getting raped multiple times over, in a very non-consensual way. Mostly by Slanesh Marines, but potentially by Nurgle sisters as well, who want sensual cuddles, who want to give you surprise cuddles. Some of these stats I'll go through in a later section because there's a lot to dig into with all these different weapons and how they interact. But basically to say, each weapon has a weight, it's listed right here. I'm pretty sure this is the stuff that wasn't listed in that options menu earlier. So all of that crap. You can change your armors by clicking on them here in the menu. You can click up here, get their stats page, but it also includes the armor values of the armor, which are based on facings, which depends on which angle they're getting shot at from. Let's see if I can load these out a bit later. see if there's anybody who's really heavily depleted. That can go right there. That goes there. I want to put those in there, but I don't know if it's better than putting this down. I should put that right there for now. Yeah, it seems like it fucked everything up. Basically, the keep inventory thing will fuck up if you don't, do I have... Yeah, I have Melt a Storm Frag loaded into all of these. I'm gonna unload that from all of these and give them... and drop one of these. The Melt a Storm Frag ammo is good at damaging health. Actually, I'm just gonna skip through this for the sake of the tutorial and not worry about my own playthrough. But basically, that's how the inventory, you just drag and drop. And if you can't find space down here, you can press Control and click and it will remove. Also, this unloads, so if you drag a weapon over here, it will unload it. Some weapons get this sprite when you load a certain type of ammo, others don't. Also, some weapons like this can load many types of ammo. This loads three types of ammo at once. And I think the corresponding types are shown on each window. It shows the damage type, which is kind of annoying, but you can see, if you compare them up here, you'll see this does stun, so the flechette shell does stun, so it's clearly this one right here. And the crack shell does standard, which means it's this one. Standard is much worse than stun, that's why stun only does 20 damage there. Resistance-wise, I'm referring to. Yeah, take that out and that out. I was doing a build for a Space Hulk earlier. Needed to move everything around now. I'll deal with it later. But that's how that works. There's also one that shows you the armor on everybody. Can be useful for trying to find specific sets of armor. Build facilities is where you can build different types of things. It will tell you all the information here about their costs and their maintenance. Works the same on both types of bases. When you build one, it will look like this. You start building something, it will just plop in, and then that will count down. So, like, see, this one's now 13. That's a door right there. I'm considering building a Coven barracks so I can get some more training done here. So I was like, that's more playthroughs. Then you got the research menu, which is where you manage your research. This is done by base, and there's a menu for doing it that shows you all your different bases and what they're researching. So each of these projects is by base. So I should probably remove all the ones I'm not actually researching at the moment, or don't plan to research at the moment. There's quite a few of these. But this is just how I've always done research, since I've never gotten multiple bases in a game before, which may sound super noobish, but a lot of what I've played in the past was X-Pirates, which is just such a dense mod, and such a long mod that it's... yeah. Manufacture, this is where you'll build stuff. You have different types of things, but pretty much everything in the mod costs something, and there's not many free items you can mass produce. Like, they even removed melt-a-gun charges as being free to produce in one of the recent updates. That was my money generator before. These... Oh, it looks... No? Why don't... Stop production. Okay, why was I building this? Inferno. Yeah, start production. I meant to do these. Shell. Boom. Okay. Somehow I was building... That must have been a holdover. Those were costing me... Oh, let me go look at my, Let me go look at something. Inventory. Transfer. Here we get to... Transfer screen is where you'll Okay, one thing I do need to know is that each production line costs 2 servitors, both from your total production ability and from your production ability and from your available pool. I thought I would tell that because that can be that's a bit confusing at first. So you want to produce one thing at a time. You don't want to have a bunch running at once. Which I don't remember if that's a vanilla thing or not. I don't think it is, but could be mistaken. I have a lot of crap. Oh yeah, it's gonna be my my pilots that I'm gonna send over. Sadly, you can't see who's who over here. Yeah, I need to look. Soldiers. That one. Oh, it's probably because they're equipped to the craft, isn't it? Yeah. Should get another pilot and then, who do I want to send over? You, definitely. Craft I have over here is yeah. Those only take one pilot, that's why I'm only transferring one, and I'm going to buy another one. I'm going to need another... Transferring's much cheaper than buying new stuff as well. Like, way cheaper. Even if you send it to the exact other side of the planet, it's still cheaper by, like, usually than buying new. Which makes sense. But it may not be obvious to some people. You got the purchase menu, which works exactly as you'd expect it to. It's, you buy stuff. You put in how much you want to buy, and then you buy it. And it will stop you whenever you can't buy it or something. So, like, let's say I wanted to buy too many plasma missiles, let's say. Yeah, it'll tell you not enough store space. The reason I chose plasma missiles is because they're very big item. and they take up a lot of room. Sell these, I think. I think I already have plasma missiles at the other base. See how expensive they are, but they hit really hard. Then you got the sell sack menu, which is basically just selling shit. Sell that, sell that, sell these. Researching different chaos things basically just gives you what their stats. It doesn't actually allow you to use them. You have to get the chaos corruption thing. You can get into the Dark God's Path, as it's called, which you can either get through all of this crap, which you're more likely, though, to get it through these. Any of these will allow you to just research it, which was added so all the other factions can use it, besides just Space Marines, because some of the things in here require, I think, Space Marines, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Marines selected. And this is not true. These are not true. There is another way to do it with this. This re-enables it for these, for those worried. But basically this just allows you to access all this stuff, and the reason you're seeing a couple of repeats in here is because it's a little bit different for each side. But yeah. This is also, the way it works is like basically basically you can recruit the actual captured units that you get. Either captured or killed in some cases, like Chaos Space Marines and Sisters you can get it even if you kill them. By resurrecting them like we see in the Horus Heresy. Obviously, it's a bit of a stretch, but yeah. Then you got the graphs, which I explained. There's one for activity in area, activity in sectors, which are basically your countries in this. Then you got Imperium activity in area, which basically shows you your missions that you've done by area and then by month. And then you got Imperium activity in sectors. And the sectors do not perfectly align with areas. So there may be things outside of areas. Inside areas that are outside sectors. Income, which shows you the income from each sector. Let me go. Yeah, parse this one. The total here. I'm trying to get this so like... It's better shown on the finance menu. Ah, there we go. What's that gray one? A sector. A sector's always giving me shit. Unless they're not mapped. I think... Imperial... And then you got finance, which is your finances. So you have income, expenditure, maintenance, balance... and then score. So I just spent a bunch of money. Yeah, my balance just took a hit. And score, which is your monthly score. So you need to like keep keeping this up. And then you have the codex, which is which you can see strategies. Weapons. As you unlock them and such. You have a page like this for each faction, so when you open this up in the sheet, I'll show. It's not really a sheet, but it's a way you can get around this. You'll see multiple of these for each faction. But you have just tons of stuff in this button. So yeah, there's a lot to look through. So I'd recommend looking through this at the beginning of the game. All your different types of armor. Some of this is lore, some of it's armor. And then you got some different types of ammunition and their properties, which are basically explanations of that info page I showed before when it's generally applied to something. Though it's not always true. Like, there are exceptions, is what I'm saying. And then you got the enemies tab, which is just a complete clusterfuck. I'll show you later in the category, in the other thing. I'm probably going to do an overview for each of the enemy factions, or types of factions. And then you got the assistance menu. I went through several of them. So, like, base facility shows you all the base facilities. And all of these have that info button. Sorry, I skipped through a bunch of stuff there. So, missions, this doesn't really work. There are mission articles, sort of, but they don't work at the moment, from what I understand. Like, they don't have any text in them. You can see the previews of them in the thing. With the cheat I'm going to use later, but they seem to be more there to make the missions work in-game, rather than to actually work. They're basically placeholders for the original game mission articles, is my guess, is what they're there for, and they're not actually meant to be seen. I would hope that would get fixed at some point. Assistants, you should read this whole section. If you read nothing else, read everything in here. These are basically core mechanics of the game that people may not know. So, like, combined interceptions are a thing. Escorts are a thing. Soldier marks is more. This is the thing after the stats that you saw. After the names are basically tell you what's good about each character. Scoped weapons, area damage, craft deployments, weapon usage, armor repair, scanning enemy craft. Basically, you get enemy craft stats by literally clicking on the thing that shows you a picture of the craft, is what that's saying. Moving while over encumbered. Some of the weapons in the mod are really heavy in the early game for characters, especially. It's more important for guard, though. Weapon strength requirements, destroying terrain. One thing that's, let me see if it's listed here. Yeah, they don't list it here, but each piece of an enemy spacecraft actually gives you materials. So, like, the amount of metal you get from it from like a Chaos craft is based on how much of this is still there, which is not obvious. That's how it determines. So, like, if you just nuke it into oblivion, yeah, you're not gonna get very much. Which may seem obvious once you say it, but, like, yeah. Also, ground craft often have turrets, so it's good to shoot them. This talks about this talks a little bit about what I just said. This shows you, like, talks about geoscape icons and how they can mean different things. Though it doesn't give you all of them, there's way more than this. Like, Space Hulks have their own. I've seen those. These aren't really used in the mod very much, I'm assuming because they have some bugs. And they're kind of jank. These are just random things. Medkits do extinguish fires. Which, if you don't know that, you're gonna die. So basically just using the heal button will extinguish the fire as far as I know. I don't know if the other things do. This is just the various craft that I've seen. That is out of place. That's a glitch. I can tell you here about that. I probably was missaying his name. That's the codex. Well, and then you got the options menu, which is how you quit and such. And then you got the extended menu, which is where you get to the funding, which is from vanilla. And this is where you can see how much things have changed over a month. You got the tech tree viewer, which allows you to search for any topic. Let's say I wanted to go find chaos. That's how you spell it, right? Yeah, and then you can see all the things that have chaos in the name. Where this can get annoying is if something is listed as like a string. Let me type in str. str. Yeah, if you get just a string, which is often used for things you shouldn't see, but you often have to see them because you're looking through the tech tree viewer. Also, middle mouse will show this in any of the other menus. If you click on something, it'll take you to this menu. So let's say I go to Leader Plus. All the things that will unlock it, these are basically interrogations, which work just like in the base game. And then you get these things. So basically, these are often used for checkpoint type research. Then you have the research overview. This shows your research between all your bases. You have your production overview, same general thing. Oh, that's why I thought I had done it. I had it done at the other base. Then you had your targets of interest. I've never used that menu. That's basically to pull up, I think, all the different crashed UFOs and shit. Never had to use that. Maybe at some point in the future I will. Daily pilot experience. This is for if you want to check how much experience they've gotten from flying in a day. Notes. This is if you want to add notes. Select music check. You can change your music. So, some of the music in here is quite bad, so I would recommend if you don't like the track to change it. And then test screen might cause your game to crash, but it's for checking things like palettes and crap. And then there's the cheat thing that I was talking about earlier. Abandoned game. Yes. If you go to new battle here over in the skirmish menu, this is a whole other menu on its own where you can select different types of missions, so pretty much any type of mission or ship, and you can select those, and then you can select a race, which is basically a faction. So these are all the different enemy rosters that can spawn in, and you could select these and fight against them. So let's say you wanted to go up against, like, practice against Tyranids, or like Gene Stealer cults per se. And you can choose their tech level, which determines what they'll get in the game. So there's like, how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There's more. I don't think they go above here-ish. So I could be wrong. I know they go to 9 in Armad, but these are basically, each of these little things that's going up are actually a set deal that does actively change their roster quite a bit. In some cases, or at least makes it different. I don't know how to explain it, because I'm not familiar enough with it. And then you can change the terrain. So there's different variants for the terrain, as you can see here. Gothic is basically your ruins. Farm is the vanilla terrain. Desert, these are all the vanilla terrains. I think jungle is not vanilla. Mountains is basically the same terrain in a different, like, color scheme. I don't care for that one. Plains I haven't. Polar I think I've seen before. And it's alright. I'm gonna go, Gothic's the only unique one here. So I'll go with, Sand. I've not seen that one. The faction select does nothing here, from what I understand. You can equip your craft. Oh yeah, I didn't show that. But you can choose different transports from this menu. And you'll get... And this basically allows you to choose whatever transport you want to use. The only issue here is you have to manually, from the file, from your save files, put in what dudes you want. So this is good if you want to, like, see what a mission might look like. as like practice before actually doing it, to see what. But you often don't know what the enemy roster is going to be entirely composed of, but you can get an idea. Potentially, if you have the special scanner that shows you that. Because there's a scanner you get later in the game through researching that officer research I pulled up. That will show you enemy factions. So, all the items in the game. That's a lot. Let me see if I could find the specific one that's right before the enemy section, which is just a absolute I think it's an orcs. It's like a blaster pistol thing for orcs. If I can find it, I'll just skip right to the way you can see every enemy, because you don't want to research the enemy stuff because it's just annoying, because some of them don't actually have their own stats yet. Are not finished at all. And it's because it's a tedious task and nobody wants to fucking do it. I'm just going to say that. It's that sort of task. So if someone wants to do that would be awesome. Here we go. This is the enemy. It's such a mess. Like, it's completely out of order. There's some order to it. Like, we're going through Zeech stuff right now, but there's, like, now we're in the middle of Night Lords and then more Zeech stuff. Like, it's completely out of order. And that's because you would research this out of order as well, so you wouldn't notice in a normal game. Oh, they implemented that change that I, or no, they did. That's neat. I suggested that we move this page to right here because it makes because I thought the behemoth was some type of super obliterator, because it looks too much like the obliterators, this guy here, but he's actually a Slanesh dreadnought, so that's nice that they implemented that. But, like, yeah, you can see there's just so much randomness. I'm up to here statting these on a PDF. So, if anyone wants me to go through and do, like, go do faction overviews for them, and with, like, it does seem a lot better than when I last looked through here, though. In some cases, like, the Tyranids are now with the Gene Cult. I don't remember that being the case. Oh wow, that's not finished. Yeah, I'll get out of here before I ruin anyone's day with seizures. But you can basically view the entire codex from here, is my point. Not really that. And that includes, like, stuff like that, which you can't get through that menu. But basically, you click your way through here. Yes, all the beeps, so I'll stop doing it. But you can basically get all the way to armors and such, which you can access through here. For instance, you can go here, armor. More beeps, but deal with it. I'll get to you can get to your side of the weapons section. Yeah, and the whatever they're called. Let me see if they say. Support shit. And then you got all the craft shit. And then you got the transports. It should be weapons that you use, I think. God. Yeah, I'll just stop at this point. But that's basically a way you can access the entire PDF if you're curious about something and want to know if you should research it or not. Some weapons are going to be in the one thing that you can't do is view the tech tree viewer. But you can open 2 instances of this game. And it doesn't make any music from the main menu because, yeah. You can also change what soldier types you get in this craft menu. by clicking the randomize button, but it will stay the same otherwise. So, oh fuck, I forgot to do, I accidentally did that. Crap. Oh, this is what that tile set looks like, by the way. I guess that's a good time to talk about, I guess that isn't the worst thing to do, because now I can talk about the Battlescape menu. These show what items are in your left and right hand. These two slots right here, and you click on them. Weirdly, it does actually automatically jump to this, which is actually kind of neat. If you have an ability up here. Like, let's say the Medusa Strike that I made recently, and I've been going on about on the Discord. So you have the mini-map, which shows you the mini-map, and you can jump between Z levels here. It'll show you what you can see. You have different, you can select your characters. You have inventory, which will show you your inventory. Since I didn't equip anyone, nobody's going to have anything. I don't know why that profile picture is broken, by the way. It's just assigned to the one that it's normally assigned to, so I like everything else in that section of the guard thing. So here's the extended links section. This is like the one for the geoscape, which is the globe. Toggle touch buttons is for iPads and touchscreen devices. Toggle night displays. This is what the night vision looks like. It looks like shit. Looks like Nurgle just vomited on my screen. So, God no, I don't want that on. Toggle personal lighting basically lights up the area around your dudes. It helps at night a little bit. Toggle brightness, visual only. Oh god, it's really bright. Now you basically change the brightness is what this does. Either lower or higher. That's about normal, I think. Hit log shows you an actual hit log. This is very useful because some of the enemies are quite tanky and you want to know if you're hitting them. Briefing will show you this thing, what your mission objective is, which often is just kill all the enemies, but sometimes it isn't, like on the Space Hulk second mission part thing. Then you can change your track here. Some of them are quite bad, as I stated before, so. Then you have multi-level view. Oh, yeah, this shows you, allows you to play with full 3D view, so like, it'll show you, all layers at once, and let you select lower layers. Though this could be hard to see what you're doing, actually. Which is probably why it's not on, but it does look nice. Like, you can't tell me this doesn't look fucking nice. I didn't make any of this, but yeah, that does look nice. Up here is your ability. So it's different for a bunch of different characters, and you should check it yourself. These toggle allow you to view between layers. If your character has a jetpack, let me see if I have one here. I have the music and stuff turned. I do not have any. God dang it.
The warriors of the Inquisition are yours to command.
The reason it's just a really random selection because I can't actually change the selection. This is one of the Space Marine vehicles, and I took it because it can carry a bunch of people. But we're gonna go abandoned game. Yes. I should see if there's a way to make more random people appear, because I would change it up to like 100 people. Just because there's that many soldier types in the game. Oh fuck, I clicked the wrong button. Abandoned game. Yes. Quit. And you got the mods menu here. I guess I can go over this. Basically, this is where you set up the different mods. You're basically gonna want to go when you install 40K inside of the mods folder. It's gonna appear here. Oh yeah, that's XCOM files, not the original game. It's gonna appear here as one of the mods in this folder. It's basically its own game. It's like a sub game. It's a total conversion, which is why it appears here. XCOM files and X Pirates work the same way. X Pirates even does engine changes, so I think it uses its own version of extended. So that one you can actually download as its own game. And works as its own thing. I brought that mod up a bunch. This is my test build, if you're wondering why there's one, but that should be apparent enough. Damage notifications, that's a sub-mod you can get from our Discord. It's more for debugging. These are from the base mod and probably don't work. So I would recommend not using them. Unless you want half of your things to use them. As I don't know how well they're supported. And then stat strings you always want on, and cutscenes is an optional, but it's much bigger than the rest. Like, it's bigger than our entire mod. It's basically those video things that you were seeing in the, just before the briefing. It's basically adds video briefings to some mission types. It's like 500 megabytes, so it's not much, but it is bigger considerably than the base mod, and it's bigger than our mod and the base mod combined. It's also the intro. So that's why it's its own separate thing. So with that out of the way, I hope that I've given you a better understanding of OpenXCOM and where to go in its menus to find things. This load game menu, by the way, just works how you'd expect it to. So, yeah.